for Trump.
Do you think he knows enough about how we did it?
He didn't say.
Surely you guys have an issue with him. I mean, this feels like more than just like strategic advantage. We're talking about essentially conquest. You know, we're talking about like Panama. We're talking about like seizing their oil reserves. Are you guys okay with that?
I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that.
So wait, hold on. Does that mean that you would be okay with doing the same thing in Greenland? Because we would similarly benefit, right?
So here's the difference. So what we've done,
we just build stuff there. We don't need it.
So first of all, we've done this before. We did this in Panama to Noriega. We did this exact same like playbook to Noriega in Panama in 1990. George H.W. Bush kidnapped him with a military/DEA force, took him back to New York, tried him, put him in federal prison for his crimes. And I don't know who the leadership was in Panama, but I bet they danced to our tune after that. That's the same thing they're doing in Venezuela. Venezuela can't export oil right now, crude oil, because our Navy is there. And our Navy's not going to leave. So we're going to refine oil at some sort of, it's going to be ours. We're taking the oil.
You can't imagine blowback? You can't imagine blowback
How?
from this? It's a country of, well, first of all, I mean, Venezuela, I think, has like 32 million people in it, but you're also talking about like broader Latin America. You can't imagine provoking a kind of anti-Western imperialist movement that would come from this, and
not one that because they can be mean on Twitter and shit.
No, they're very happy on like Latin America is overwhelmingly stoked on getting rid of Maduro because
there's a lot of people are. I mean, he was brutal. He was
horrible. He killed
illegitimate.
He ran over people with tanks who were protesting, and also 8 million people over the past 13 years during his reign have fled. That pisses off surrounding countries because they're like, the fuck, like, we have to take this. And so, like, the only concern I have, which I said on PKN, so I'll keep it brief, is a migrant crisis. I don't want an additional migrant crisis from this because if you recall, in 2022, the Biden administration arrested the president of Honduras on narco charges in Tegucigalpa, the capital of Honduras. And after they arrested him, it created a migrant problem. And that is the only concern I have. I was very worried about bombing Iran turning into a big war. And that's why I'm against it. I'm still against any Iran stuff because I don't see a benefit for the US there much.
That's an Israeli war.
That's like for Israel. Like it doesn't benefit us. So I don't want to fight Iran.
It affects us a little bit as far as the way Iran might fund anti-Western terror organizations, not just Hezbollah, who's there in Palestine, but some sort of Al-Qaeda splinter group or something like that. I always worry about Iran funding that and giving them some fucking irradiated materials and them being in a fucking shipping container in San Francisco, detonating a dirty bomb on the Golden Gate Bridge and making the most financially dense area in the planet an irradiated wasteland for 16 years.
The most catastrophic mistake that the Bush administration made was a complete lack of thought about how to move forward after Saddam was gone. Like they just, and all the investigations they did and all the post-mortem analyses, they just had no plan. And it seems like Donald Trump, hang on real quick. I want to tell you this thing. It seems like Donald Trump is in a similar position because you had the opposition leader, her name was Machado, I think. And technically, she lines up with American interests more than the VP that was just sworn in. But Trump passed on her, reportedly, because he was salty that she won the Nobel Peace Prize and didn't give it to him. That seems like...
She doesn't have respect.
You guys can't imagine this action of... this is just pure conquest of like taking that oil.
They're already making deals.
You can't imagine a movement springing up in Latin America that would become radicalized and do some kind of terrorist attack in the United States?
I can because when you act like an asshole, you find yourself unpopular and isolated. And I don't think you can base right versus wrong or good versus bad based on what's good for me. I could take a gun to downtown Raleigh and mug people and say, hey, it's good for me, therefore I support it. But it doesn't make it good. And in the long term, I'll be isolated and in trouble. If we just go and mug a country like Venezuela and take all their oil, it might be nice in the short term. Sure, I have somebody else's wallet. In the long term, though, you're the bad guy and you're globally isolated, and it's a problem.
I don't think that's
because they don't have any
realistic.
friends.
We've seen
Venezuela doesn't have any
so
friends.
many
Nobody
times
cares
in
what we're doing in
history.
Venezuela. If we fuck with Greenland, then I'm on your page. If we fuck with Greenland, we upset NATO, we upset Europe. That's a different page. They don't care about what we do in South America. They know that that's ours because that's been ours since the 50s. Every single government down there, we either buy, break, or bribe, or whatever you want to call it. Every single one of those governments, we have our fingers in a pot. Whether that's right or wrong or not, doesn't matter because we don't get to be policymakers. It's what we do as the United States of America.
It has happened several times in history that we go in, impose our will, depose some leader, install some loyalist, and then the country devolves into chaos. Happened in Iran. It's happened in Central and South America several times all throughout history.
So we're not responsible for Iran, are we?
I'm talking about the Iranian. I mean Iran. I mean they installed the Shah. They installed the Shah, and then in the late 70s there was a fucking revolution, and then look where we are now.
But you know the difference. So I think it's important to point out that the huge difference in Venezuela is when we took down Saddam Hussein, we took down the entire Ba'athist party and everyone who was affiliated with it. You had to be in the Ba'athist party to be in the government. So basically, we fired every government official who knew what they were doing and barred them from ever holding office again. Not down to the dog catchers. Then we did the same thing to their police forces and security forces
who
and
were
secret
armed.
police
Who were armed.
and who were armed. Now all those guys are without a job and looking for a new career, and there's no one to replace them. We couldn't have it's almost like we did it on purpose. Maybe we did. It's like I have a hard time believing we're that stupid and bad at it. I don't know which it is. Either we're incredibly negligent and stupid in that move.
That was incompetence.
Or, oh my God, you ruined them on purpose. You created that insurgency to sell weapons and make a forever war over here. Maybe they did that. I could believe our government's that evil. But in South America and Venezuela, we didn't tear down the government. We took the king off the board and the queen stepped up. The vice president's running that country right now, and presumably remaining in power under a contiguous government that we can now boss around because they know that we'll come and fucking grab you if you don't.
Yeah. And that's good for America geopolitically. And it depends on the framing of the argument, because opposition to things like this, intervention that actually benefits America, where it's like, oh, well, we all seem like the bad guys and this and that. That's not how great power politics work. It's not how diplomacy works. It's not how, geopolitics works. Like, it just comes down to two different discussions. If you want to talk about the morality of it and the implications of that, sure. But if you want to talk about like the predictions and ability to ascertain what we're likely to next do, like, you need to think about great power politics, not, but we're going to see no.
But you could use this rationale.
Russia invaded.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You could use this rationale to invade and depose like anyone. Like you could use this. I mean, it would benefit us if we, did that to Canada. If it would benefit us if we did that to Mexico. Like,
it comes down to power, though. Like I see a lot of morons on the internet saying things like, "Oh, so they can just arrest Trump when he goes to France now," and it's like,
try.
No, because that's not how power dynamics work. Oh, so Bangladesh can just invade China and depose Xi Jinping? No. The only defining factor there is power and the ability to project power, influence globally.
Right. We could do that to a lot of different countries. Sure. Right.
We clearly
almost all of them.
Think about because Russia. Think about during the Ukraine war. Russia, on at least one occasion, maybe two, tried to do a Delta Force thing to Zelensky. Mm-hmm. What prevented that?
Yeah.
They failed because they weren't adept enough. They all got murdered by Zelensky's guard or whatever. Like, they try that thing. The limiting factor is, for every other great power, China and Russia, is capacity. Not will. If China wakes up tomorrow with a 10 times stronger military, they don't take Taiwan. They take the whole planet. Like, they are limited by will. We are the only, or they are limited by capacity. We are the only superpower that we've self-imposed a limit of will over the past, really ever since Carter in 80.
But it seems like you're taking like an extreme might makes right kind of position here. But you could
geopolitically, that's how it works. Yes, and right doesn't mean morally. It just means
I understand.
Right. Yeah.
But you could use that same rationale to do the same thing in probably a dozen other countries that are in our.
But we wouldn't want to do that, because the only time we should be interceding in global events is if it has a tangible benefit to America. That's why Syria.
Benefit us.
That's why Libya was a total disaster. Libya was a complete disaster in 2011, toppling Gaddafi. We spent a bunch of time, a bunch of money, and then it hurt Europe tremendously.
So if it's a country that we can easily usurp and take their resources, should we do that in every case?
It depends on the geopolitical implications. Like, who are their allies?
We benefit from it.
It's almost always going to be cheaper to buy their stuff.
No, but I'm asking, should we? Right? Because you're saying we should have done this. We ought to have done this.
To buy them.
Well, no, I'm saying for
if it's cheaper to buy it, then we just buy it.
But if it's not cheaper, should we do this to other countries?
How badly do we need it? I mean, is it like unobtainium, or is it like that whale Avatar?
Let's just say they have
if we have to kidnap another president from
depends what they're doing with the oil
Nicaragua.
reserves, and it depends on in Venezuela's case. I like this because I didn't want China moving missiles and Russia moving missiles into Venezuela and having another Cuban Missile Crisis. And that place has like the largest oil and gold reserves on the planet. It's 500 miles from Puerto Rico. We call dibs. And that's just going to be the way things are.
That seems like
I don't like the Greenland thing, because what they're talking about is annexing and making it ours. And there's 30,000 people there who don't want that, and it's their home. And I don't like that at all. I do recognize the strategic and resource reasons for taking it, but I wouldn't vote for, or if I was on a cabinet, with Trump, I wouldn't speak up for the taking and annexing of Greenland. I don't like that at all.
I'd rather have the Panama Canal.
Not just because of right and wrong. And just to be clear, it would be wrong, morally speaking, and just put yourself in a black space and say, is this right or wrong? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's theirs. We're stronger than we can take it. We're not bullies on a playground. Don't act like that for no reason. The real problem is beyond the right and wrong is it would break up NATO. I don't know what the rest of NATO would do. And as much as I don't like NATO, I do recognize that we're in a position where Russia's already at war with Ukraine. China clearly is slobbering at the mouth for Taiwan. If Russia is swept down through Lithuania at the same time China swept and embargoed Taiwan, we'd be stretched. We'd be fighting wars on two sides of the planet. That would be a real problem. And then a NATO that we're not coordinating with and working hand in hand with is going to just exacerbate that and make that a big loss, mostly for Europe, Europe and Taiwan. I mean, we're